Hello! So, last time we made our UV unwrap. We've got it here like this. Now, since then, I did add an additional unwrap, which is on the inside of the lips, which I put here, which just does the inside of the mouth that we've got in here. This. And that's the only change that's happened off screen. That's because I was experimenting for this one, and I realized that I needed it. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into shading, click on Principled BSDF and press Ctrl T if you have the node wrangler. If not, just go add with texture, image texture, or you can also click here. But I'm going to use Ctrl T, add an image texture, and then go new, and I'm going to multiply this by 2, and then I'm going to click and drag down, click and drag it down to make them both match. I'm going to name this texture body. I'm going to pick a rough color for a skin, and we'll go with that. Cool. Now, I'm going to take the subsurface and turn it off. We don't want any subsurface at all. And I'm also going to swap to Eevee. Go to this mode, and then I'm going to click Texture Paint. Now, as you can see, we are on the texture body texture. We've got our mesh here, and if I start coloring stuff, you'll see it starts appearing on the screen. And if I went like blue just to make it obvious, we can do it there, or we can do it here, and it'll appear on that side as well. So we can use either side that we want to texture. So I'm going to really quickly go up here, and then go to flat shaded, which is obviously not something you don't want to use permanently. But I'm going to use the eyedropper here to get a perfect skin tone. Now this I can draw as much as I want and nothing will change because it's a perfect skin tone. And I'm now going to go back off. And I want to go back onto Studio for the thing. And I'm going to take that color, get a little bit darker, not too much. I'm going to use this color for really quickly sort of shading around certain areas, like below the eyes. I've got the, I just need to fix my camera quick. I'm also going to make this a little smaller so that I've got most of my screen in this, like here. What I'm doing is sort of going around certain areas. That I feel should be slightly shadowed, because we will be using Eevee for the final render. And you'll notice I'm not on a maximum strength here. And it does look rough, but that is absolutely fine. If I go into render mode, you can see it quite clearly, but we'll fix that once we get to the next stage. I am going to soften it a lot because I've used a fairly hard brush. Brilliant. And again on the neck, soften this. And behind the ear as well. Just get a quick soften around everywhere, just to soften it off a little. Perfect. And back to the paintbrush. I'm now going to go for a slightly redder colour. Just go around the lips. I don't have huge lips on this character, so don't need too much here. That's a little bit clownish. I'm going to remove that. I realise I think I went way too red with this. That's better. Make sure we can sort of get it nice and curved in. And then I'm going to get in close. Just going to make sure that I've got the sort of edges that I want without going too far over. Brilliant. Then I'm going to go over the inside just because this bit should be filled in. I'm going to put the strength up just to colour in the inside here. Easily done. So yeah, very faint there. I'm also going to do the inside of the eye parts here. Start doing those with like a red. Oh, trying to keep it as close to the eye part as possible because we don't really want this to be too standout. We want this to be fairly innocuous. Just making a nice loop around the eye. We do have the mirror on, so it is doing both sides at once, which is exactly what we want. And you don't have to be perfect here because we are going to use a couple of other tricks as well, which will render some of this slightly null. If you've got a tablet, which I do, but I'm not currently using, you can use that. Blender works very well with a tablet. By tablet, I mean a drawing pad. Okay, and almost finished this here. And that'll do. So, as you can see, doesn't stand out particularly much. I think I need to come out a lot more here, because that's actually the top inner part of the eye. Brilliant. I'm going to click this flip button just to clean up the top here. Okay. Brilliant. So it doesn't stand out too much, and that's fine. That's exactly what you want. And again, I'm going to use the same pink color for the nipple. Perfect. Not doing anything really much on the hands. Now, I want this pink color, but I want it way weaker for the ear. And I want it mostly around the tops, not so much in the middle, I think. Don't worry about spilling over a little. Anywhere that you spill over, we can fix in a little bit. So, this, and on this side. Yeah, perfectly fine if you spill over onto the top, because we can just go over, and that's why we've got the skin color saved on the other side. Exactly, so that we can just go back and fix things like that. So I can just swap over to this, and just go over this to fix it. Make sure I haven't got any other lines like this. Like here. Perfect. Easily done. Now I think I want a little bit of like a blush almost, but I want it to be faint. And I'm going to quickly go around and, oh, not smear, I want blur. Bring it a little smaller. Just blend some of that in with the blur tool. I'm also going to go over this, blend some of this in. You'll notice that this bit's a little bit patchy, and that's totally fine. Patchy is totally fine, because a lot of this is going to be used for the subsurf that we eventually put on. You just don't want to paint with the subsurf on. Put the strength up to fix these errors. going to go Image, Pack, back to Shading, get rid of this Principled shader. I'm going to put in a Toon shader. There's a Toon shader in here. Oh, I thought there used to be. There might not be anymore. It doesn't matter if there isn't. We can work around it. Okay, there is not a Toon shader, so we will use the Principled for now. Was the Toon shader by any chance in Cycles? Yes, it is. Okay, so we will use Cycles. Yeah, so obviously we don't want it. We want it a little bit bigger. We'll go around there. We don't have an outline or anything, so we will eventually put that on. You can change the smoothing, but I think I want the smoothing right down to get that sort of solid edge look. So, it looks a little bit creepy still at the moment, and we'll work around that more and more as we go through. You can change it to glossy from diffuse, but it's a bit gross. So, next up what we're going to do, I'm going to click here, and click the modifier properties, add a modifier, and we're going to go solidify. We can adjust the thickness, so we want to go backwards so it goes outwards, and then even thickness, and for normals, flip them. This should now, if I click this face orientation, make it fully red. It does. I'm going to add on a second material. I call this outline. And I'm going to set base color to be black. I'm also going to put geometry node in here. A mix shader. Make it back facing. Bring in a second one of these. Put it to the side and connect up. And this one's going to have alpha at 0. Now this might make the whole model black. Oh, it didn't. Perfect. Oh, I know why it didn't. Because we go material offset +1. Now I made the whole model black. Yep. Somewhat as expected. And there is a way of fixing this. We need to go into the material properties for the outline. Set it to alpha clip, back facing, and tick those. Now if I go back into my first material, and if I just connected this straight into surface, you'll notice that it immediately works. There are a couple of things we might want to fix, like around here, but it does immediately work with the effect that we want, being that we got the black outline around the character. Does also show us that we might want to fix the shader a little. I'm also going to reduce this a little. So I want an outline, but I want it to be small. Yeah, that's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. But you'll notice that anything that we try to plug, not principal volume, if we try to plug any sort of shader in and plug it in, it will immediately make it go black instead. And it doesn't matter what shader you use here. I could use glossy shader. Also won't work. But if you plug it in directly, it works. Don't ask me why this is. I have absolutely no idea. I don't think it's the case that it should do, but for some reason it's insistent that that's just the way it's going to work. I've seen this a few times, and I haven't managed to find a fix for it. It works in Eevee a lot better, but yeah. So the more time you spend actually painting in your character, the better. But we can now texture paint it as much as we want. We do need to turn off the solidify because there's no texture on the solidify, and you can start to add in small details around areas that you want. So if I go onto this one again, I want to set this to the skin color again and make it a little bit darker. We don't want the strength on a max, I want it low. Brilliant. And I can also make it a little bit... I can't go any lighter, I don't think. Wait. Nope, not really any lighter, but I can-ish. Just go along with that. And I should smooth this to soften, especially around the bottoms. Just get it really soft, because I don't want it to be too strong. And you can just get some sort of colour going into this. Oh, so there's a part there that we need to quickly go over and fix. And sort back again. Just want a little bit darker than the top colour, just to go around here. And again, soften it. Whoever's in here that's a lot better at traditional art are probably cringing right now, and that's fine. I'm sure a lot of you are probably much better at 2D art than I am. I'm just trying to show you how to do it rather than show off my own drawing skills, which are lackluster at best. This needs to be blurrier than this. And probably shade this a bit darker. But that is how you do it. The better you are at drawing, the better, and the easier it'll be. My character's a little bit creepy. But we have now got a character, even if the actual art for it's pretty bad. There are more things you should probably do, such as... if I can click it, there we go. Probably do the ribs, sort of the shadow between each rib. And below the breast. Oh. And keeping it all blurry, because I don't want to accidentally have it too strong. Yeah, so nice and faint. As I go around that. And again, slap it with the blur. Gonna blur especially the back so that it doesn't look like it just disappears. I'm gonna quickly hide these. Back to paint mode. I can always check it over here as well. And I can blur it here as well. Just because you want some areas to look like they're slightly shadowed. And then the more you do, the better. But brilliant. And that's literally all you have to do for this. And at the end, you always have to go up here and save it. And that will then give us a textured character that looks creepy as hell. And if I reactivate the solidify, you get a little bit more detail, and that is view dependent. So if I looked at it from this angle, you'll notice you get the side on that bit. If you look from it straight on, the face almost disappears. But you can increase the size of the line around it to stupid levels, but you don't want to put it too high or it'll look weird. Maybe I do want it a little bit more than that. Let's go to 8. A little less. You can also, if I go into shading, making sure that I select the outline. If I instead of have the base color and I instead put the here be emission black. There you go, slightly solider black. Increase that, but it won't do anything. But you now have got like a solid black outline all the way around your character that should look relatively smooth. And then boom, you've got a character. Next up we'll do the eyes, because they look very dead at the moment. Should probably fix some of that, but yeah, I hope this was useful, and I hope you guys are better artists than I am. But thank you very much for watching, and in the next episode we're going to rig this character.